So it is announced that Capitaland Mall Trust will be acquiring Capital Commercial Trust in the largest merger in the REIT sector in Singapore. So here is what you must know about this mega merger. Capitaland Mall Trust is now the largest retail REIT in Singapore. It owns about 15 properties across Singapore and with a property value of roughly 11.8 billion Sing dollar. And Capital Commercial Trust is a commercial REIT that has about 10 properties with a property value of 11.1 billion Sing dollar. So if combined, the integrated REIT will now own about 24 properties in total, as both REIT partly own Raffles City Singapore at the moment. And the combined entity will actually have a property value of more than 22.9 billion Sing dollar. This will make the new REIT called Capitaland Integrated Commercial Trust the third largest REIT in the whole of Asia Pacific and definitely the largest REIT in Singapore. Really? Holy sh! Anyway, the current proposal is for Capitaland Mall Trust to acquire Capital Commercial Trust based on a part cash and part unit deal. What this means is Capitaland Mall Trust will be paying each Capital Commercial Trust unit with 0.72 unit of Capitaland Mall Trust plus a 25.9 cents in cash for one Capital Commercial Trust unit. So if you are a unit holder of Capital Commercial Trust right now, at the end of the deal, you'll be holding new shares of Capitaland Mall Trust with some cash as well for your investment. The calculated consideration based on the proposal presentation that is out this morning is based on a purchase price of $2.1238 per Capital Commercial Trust unit. What is most important for investors is that based on the proposal presentation, the deal can actually be beneficial for unit holders because the combined entity might see a 1.6 accretion to its distribution per unit. That's a good sign. But what is also interesting is that the combined entity will now have a very different exposure for investor. So instead of being a pure play REIT that focuses on either the retail or the commercial buildings, the new Capital Integrated Commercial Trust will split its property across three segments, namely retail, office spaces, and integrated development. But at the same time, the new REIT will still predominantly be exposed to only the Singapore real estate market with only 4% of its property value situated in Germany. Other concern that investor might want to think about is actually why at this point of time is there even a need for a merger. Management argue that it is because having a larger REIT will give management a flexibility to take on larger redevelopment projects in the future to cater for future real estate trend. So what this basically means is that many of the current property within Capitaland Mall Trust or Capital Commercial Trust might not be well positioned for the future real estate trend and might actually require a huge amount of redesign and redevelopment to remain competitive in this space. That's not a good sign. So what can investors do at this point? If you are a unit holder of Capitaland Mall Trust, you can continue to hold on to the unit, but do bear in mind that your exposure will be different after the deal, and this is something that you have to get comfortable with. If you are a unit holder of Capital Commercial Trust, you can also choose to hold on to that shares and wait for it to be converted to the new REIT Capitaland Integrated Commercial Trust. And you can then choose whether you want to continue holding it or not based on how optimistic you are on the new REIT. But you can also consider to sell out your unit right now before the deal closes so that you can lock in your profit and maybe reinvest it elsewhere. This might be particularly attractive given that Capital Commercial Trust unit shares has actually been rallying more than 8% since the late December last year till now, while the Straits Times Index has only rallied about 1% during the same period. The deal is not completed yet, this is only a proposal, and the two REIT right now is expected to hold their EGM around May 2020, where unit holders will vote on the deal. They both need more than 50% of the unit outstanding to vote in favor of the deal for it to go through. Capitaland and other associates will be abstaining from voting. So if all goes well, Capital Commercial Trust is planned to be delisted in June 2020. So what's your thought on the deal? Will you vote A or nay? Share your comments down with us. Till we meet again, I'm Stanley from Value Invest Asia. Invest safely.